There's one reality that you would have to embrace, but nobody will do it, obviously, because it's a depressing reality. Do you think they should have run Joe Biden? When exactly did you realize that Trump won and it was over? In terms of what happened for the election, I think we'll know a little bit more when we get exit polling. Or not exit polling, but I guess as we do more polls and go through stuff over the next few weeks. But I think the actual answer is probably really, really, really boring. Which I think doesn't bode well for 2028. When COVID happened, the country was and people were mad at how thing was, and so they just voted for Biden because shit was so. And then I think that after COVID, when Biden came in, basically I think no matter who was president, shit's gonna be. People are gonna be mad. They're gonna vote for the other dude. Maybe something will come out from the. Maybe something will come out from the data that says something different, but I'm pretty sure that it actually just comes down to that, as stupid as it is. The only frustrating or annoying part about that is that Trump is likely going to have a pretty good 4 years, because I do think that the Democrats, policy-wise, have done a phenomenal job at turning everything around and like setting us up for like an amazing 4 years coming up. And Biden is going to be president for that, and he's going to get credit for all that. Any infrastructure reinvestment that happens because of the IRA, because of the infrastructure bill, anything that happens as a result of our strong export market, strong currency. I don't know how, in terms of imports, I guess. I don't know how the tariffs and everything will affect that. I don't know if Trump will go through the tariffs, who knows. Prices won't go down, though. I got an email a long time ago. I think I mentioned this on stream about Wittgenstein. That I'm attributing this to him, but it really comes from an emailer, and I don't know if it's phrased well. But I think something that you have to do is you have to be able to parse what people say and figure out like what they actually mean. Because people don't actually mean what they say all the time. It's a proxy for other things. So people are saying like, well, prices aren't going to go down, but that doesn't matter. No, none of the Trump people, prices won't go down. That's true, because inflation is cumulative, right? Remember, when you're talking about inflation, you're talking about a derivative. And a derivative is just measuring the rate of change between 2 points. And inflation, that function, is always going to be positive. So the underlying function. So inflation is always going to increase. But when we talk about inflation, we're talking about the rate of the increase. So prices won't go down under Trump, but all the people that talked about prices not going down didn't actually care about that. They just care about how good they feel relatively in the economy. And real wages are the highest they've ever been, and they'll probably continue to rise. So people will be fine. Yeah. So if you want to drive yourself crazy, I guess, the things that you'll see are people that previously said things like GDP and the stock market didn't matter are going to be talking about the stock market every single day. And they're going to be talking about our GDP every single day. And then people saying things like prices didn't go down and the rate of inflation doesn't matter are going to be citing year-over-year inflation every single day and the rate of inflation every single day. But it is what it is. That's all you're going to do. Or that's all you can do. Every parent who grocery shops voted Trump. No, I don't think that. I don't think grocery prices or anything like that were ever a big thing for people. And people will fight against it, but I don't know I'm not sure. It's really hard for me as somebody who lived like a lifestyle where I struggled in poverty with things to watch other people complain. But it feels to me a lot like the majority of working class complaints online come from middle class people who want to live like rich people while LARPing like poor people. This is a feeling that I had the first time I felt this feeling. I remember the very first time I felt this feeling that I couldn't make sense of what was going on around me. And I think I understand it better now. It was when I was in college, 2008. Does anybody remember when we first hit? Was it $100 a barrel for gas? Anybody remember what year that was? One of the things that was so confusing to me was I was always a commuter to work, and commuting for me, I say commute, it was like a 30-minute drive. It wasn't horrible. but I never understood why. Whenever I would drive to work, I always bought compact cars. I had a Dodge Neon. I had some Saturn, horrible piece of shit. And then my first long-term car was a Golf GTI. I now have a Focus RS. And one of the reasons why is because gas was expensive to me. I was like, okay, well, drive a 15 mile per gallon gas guzzler. But I noticed that, did I say 2017? I'm sorry, I meant 2007, back when I was in high school, college. One of the things that was always confusing to me, though, is Americans would constantly complain about high gas prices and how it was making it impossible to live. But Chevy Silverados and Ford F-150s were still the most popular selling cars in the world. And I'd see these people that would complain about gas prices. Like, well, why do you drive this vehicle? I don't understand. And it's because gas prices were never really the thing. It was never the make or break. I think that the emotive response to things is you have to do a lot more work to figure out like what people are saying. When I say emotive, what I mean is somebody will say a word, but that word is like expressing a feeling more so than any like factual thing of the world, basically. So you just kind of have to figure out, I guess, like what that is, basically. Remember the woman from Jubilee who said the 500 extra per month wouldn't help feed her kids? Yeah, I know, yeah. And you can tell when I argue with people, I can tell the things they say. It's like, okay, you have no idea.
Another $6,000 a year wouldn't help you at all with groceries?
With 2 children?
Yeah?
This much, maybe. But if the price
What are your
of
children
groceries-
eating?
I've argued with a couple people personally over this, where people will say things like, hold on. What do you mean when you say this? You really grow up poor? I don't understand this thing you're saying. Because people do things, yeah. You're the head of the DNC today. What do you change? I think that the answer, like I said, there's going to be a lot of analysis done. But I think that the answer is going to be, I think it's going to be really boring. I think it's just going to be COVID was a big deal. And that's why people voted for Biden. And then inflation was a big deal. And that's why people voted for Trump again. I think it'll just come down to that, if I had to guess. How important was the woman factor? I don't think the woman factor was that important at all. I'm sure a lot of people want to talk about the woman factor and the black factor, but how big a deal were third-party voters? I don't think third-party messed with things at all either. I don't think it was very important. Biden was a more progressive president than many expected. Do you think this will make Dems gun shy about taking progressive political risks in the future since they weren't rewarded with a second term? There's one reality that you would have to embrace, but nobody will do it, obviously, because it's a depressing reality. But the thing is, you have to find a way to make conservatives suffer for the decisions that they make. And there's just no way to do that, unfortunately, because of the way that the cycles for the economy and policy work. Everything is kind of like on a time delay, right? So right now, conservatives are about to reap the rewards of, again, another 4 years of a Democrat turning the economy around. So in their mind, it reinforces like all the decisions they've made. So I mean, what do you do about that, right? There's nothing. So as long as you're rewarding bad behavior with something good, right, you continue to participate in the behavior. So I mean, that's all you can really. I mean, that's it, right? Do you think all the rhetoric against Harris concerning Gaza had that much? No, foreign policy. I don't think it's a big driver of American shit. If Harris could find evidence of election interference or irregularities, should she concede or fight it? The Democrat Party isn't unified enough to ever stage a fight like that. The Republicans have the benefit of basically being part of a monarchy, right? If Trump the King says something, then everybody can do it. But the Democrats wouldn't have. And I mean, it's probably better that the Democrats wouldn't do something like that. Oh, but also remember the all roads lead to Rome thing too, because you see it happen in real time as well. Always keep these things in your mind, right? So if Harris would have won this election, it was because the election was rigged, right? That's the only way to win. Now that Harris lost the election, though, it just proves that 2020 was rigged, right? So like there's always, remember, but these things like the rigging the election, all that shit, at the end of the day, conservatives don't care about shit like that. They just vote off of like economic vibes, and then there's like memes and shit on Twitter, basically. I think that's my feeling, basically. But maybe it could be that the polling data that comes out in the future shows us something different. What do you think happens to Trump now as it relates to the charges he faces? He can't pardon until he is inaugurated, correct? Couldn't he easily be charged and arrested, et cetera, between now and January? All the Trump federal charges will go away. I think there's a good chance. I think there's a very high chance that he pardons all the seditious conspiracy convictions. And I think there's a decent chance that he pardons all the J6 rioters. Which is also scary because now it sends a signal to conservatives that they can act, I guess, basically as insurrectionists or violent against as long as they're fighting for Trump, and there's always going to be a reward at the end of the tunnel, which all of Trump's inner circle, to be fair, already knew, I guess, the Bannons and the Roger Stones. So when he orders the military to fire on protests again, do you think they'll do it? I don't know if he ordered them to fire on protests last time. I don't know if they do it or not. I truly have no idea. Do you think it was a mistake to not pack the courts when we had a chance, as it would have prevented the immunity ruling? The issue is that there's two different ways that you like try to deal with a election, basically. I'm trying to think of how you can have like a really bad result as a result of like the system doing something bad or giving like a undue weight to a very, very, very small minority of voters. Like you can. So in that case, you would want to fix the system. Like, let's say you have a system where there's 100 million people and 10 million people rule. Then you try to find a way to fix the system because, like, okay, well, this is obviously fucked. This isn't good, right? But if you have legitimately like half the country that believes a thing, then I mean, like, that's not a system problem. That's not a structural problem. Would Biden dropping out sooner change anything? No, like I said, I feel like it was just vibes on inflation for the first few years, basically. What are some examples of how Biden's presidency will benefit the economy during a Trump term? The reality is there's literally nothing I can say to you to convince you of that. There's nothing. You don't care. You don't understand. You don't know anything. So you'll just see stuff getting built. You'll see the economy do decently. You'll see real wages continue to rise. Housing prices will continue to go up, but you'll make excuses for it now instead of saying that the prices are going up. And basically that'll be it, yeah. Do you think disinformation played a significant part in this election? Yeah, I still think it's the major driving thing. But the problem is that we're not even close to having any. We don't even agree that that's a problem right now. Lex blaming the results on legacy media and the shift towards long-form podcasts. Lex has zero understanding of any political anything, so none of his input is valuable whatsoever there. Do you think education has any effect on how people vote or get wrapped up in conspiracies? I'm not actually sure. I thought I read something at some point that people that were conspiratorial tended to be slightly more educated than average. Am I wrong on that? Maybe somebody can find that. You think that the misinfo the misinfo shit won't. That stuff is here for a long time now, and it should be, right? Because I mean, like, you got a huge payout for it. So people with high education are less likely than people with low education believing conspiracy theories. Okay, never mind. Maybe it is lesser educated people more likely then. What's next for you? You were starting to show up in more mainstream forums, continue that push. For my personal stream stuff, I don't know. I have to figure out. I don't know. I'm not sure. As I've started to like read more, the debates are becoming so hard. Oh my God. Like debating like economically, historically, politically illiterate people it takes a toll. It's mentally exhausting. I'm not sure. I don't know how to. I'm trying to think of all the debates I did this year. If I'm like just nuking people, I don't really mind that much. I guess like if I get to go hard, it's still fun. Like I would do like that Palin Smith debate. I would do debates like that, I think, all day. It's probably fine, actually, I think. Realistically, what's the path forward for 2028? I know you said Trump will likely reap the benefits for all the good to come of Biden's policies, but the issue seemed more to be Dem turnout. Yeah, but I think the Dem turnout had to do with just like economic vibes just weren't good, at least for the first few years, for sure. What do you think of Cenk's response? I don't know. I haven't watched it. I'm probably not going to watch anybody's response. But everybody's response today, my guess is going to be for the next 2 days, everybody's response is going to be, this was my favorite pet issue that wasn't listened to, and this is why they lost. So if you're a leftist, you're going to say it's because the Democrats went too far to the center. If you're a Palestinian guy, you're going to say it's because they turned their back on Palestinians. If you're to the right, you're going to say it's because Harris was too far to the left. Like if you're a moderate, if you're like this, it's whatever your favorite issue is. That's going to be the reason why. That's going to be the reason why they lost. This is always how it goes. Would you be open to debating Charlie Kirk? I'm open to debating basically any large conservative figure. They will not do debates with people that they feel are equipped with good information, though. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Charlie Kirk, every single one of them. There is a reason why. It is very intentional. It's because they know that they're lying. All of these people are knowingly lying people. There's a reason why they avoid challenging people that are over the age of 22 and are in college. Do you think they should have run Joe Biden? No, when I was saying that shit yesterday, I was trolling. I don't think Biden would have won. I think it would have been the same issue on the economy. Yeah. Destiny, to have a goal, would you take up the mantle of getting and recording people's predictions so that they can't escape? E.g., will tariff go through? What it doesn't. People don't care. Again, it's not. People don't actually care about track record or any of that kind of stuff. It's just not a thing. You need gatekeeper type people to care about that. But audience doesn't care. If audience cared about stuff like that, then people like Tim Pool and Joe Rogan wouldn't have a job anymore, right? Nobody would listen because all their predictions are so horribly off. Would Biden have done better than Harris? I have no idea. My guess is it'd probably be similar. Would be my guess. Now that Trump's surrounded himself with yes men, do you think there is a realistic chance he will self-destruct by pushing stuff like tariffs on everything, etc.? I don't know. It's hard to say. The problem is that the thing that I guess the biggest unknown right now is conservatives they always have an infinite way to escape accountability. So theoretically, let's say RFK comes in and they take out the fluoride, they stop the vaccines, and then people start getting sick. Then they're going to say it's because doctors were rebelling or public officials were secretly pouring stuff in the water supply. Or let's say Trump comes in and he starts tariffing stuff, right? He's going to say that Democrat manufacturers were hampering Trump's efforts or the deep state. Even if when Trump does things, if they go well, then he gets credit for it. But if they go poorly, then it's attributed to some deep state mechanism. That's always how it is. Remember, if you're training a dog and the dog does something bad, in order to be a good trainer, you have to punish it immediately, and it has to be that's it. It has to be immediate, and it has to be felt, right? If you come home and your dog is pooped in the corner, and you take your dog and you drag him over, you're look what you did, and then you spank him. The dog has no idea what it did. You're trying to connect things through time, right? If you don't issue a correction immediately when the bad behavior happens, the dog doesn't associate the correction with the bad behavior. Conservatives are much the same. Anytime something bad happens, there's no way for them to ever take responsibility for it, right? Trump has never taken responsibility for a single bad thing he's done his entire life, and then downstream from that, conservatives feel the same way, right? They have no accountability, no responsibility for any of their actions. Remember, they still think the 2016 election was rigged. They still think the 2020 election was rigged. So as long as that's the case, the behavior would never change. That's that's how it works. I saw Ben Shapiro complaining that Kamala still hasn't called Trump to concede. No shot, did he? I feel like the scariest thing right now is what the Supreme Court will look like in 4 years. Listen, not if you're a white dude. Just don't knock a girl up and you're good. Who's hyped to be part of the ovary examination force? Parked at the borders, trying to catch them women's trying to drive across state lines to do immigration. Or not immigration, the abortion. I think the biggest thing in my opinion is the Seltzer poll. That poll being that far off is insane. And she should probably lose her gold standard, probably her career. The thing that I don't know about or the Seltzer poll. The thing I don't know about the polling and everything too is maybe the poll was correct in terms of sentiment, but it didn't accurately capture how many people were going to go out and vote from the polling. Maybe, who knows? Pac-Man complaining that he and other liberal creators have lost subscribers due to political fatigue/doomerism over the results. Wait, really? As we speak, progressives are tuning out due to understandable despondency over last night's results. I won't speak about others, but I've lost 10,000 YouTube subscribers overnight. Wait, really? Wait, did I lose people? Wow, we're going strong. Okay. Holy shit. Okay. Oh, these guys got a ton of subs though. What do you think will happen to Ukraine, etc.? Who knows? Depends on which way the wind blows for how Trump is feeling on it. Probably normies subbing pre-election to stay up to date and unsubbing to disengage from politics. Oh, that could be true too, because a lot of these channels are kind of like more mainstreamish. Like Brian Tyler Cohen and even David Pakman, I think, are more kind of like. I'm not saying normie is a slur, but like normal people might like stumble into these channels. They might subscribe for like the election season and then unsubscribe afterwards. Although, I wonder if it happened last election season. Damn, 10,000. Are you concerned about Russian assets in our government now? No, I'm just trying to make as much money as possible. Listen, if they're going to be oligarchies, I want to be one of them, all right? I want to be part of that class. But I think that's for like, you probably need like 9-figure net worth to be in that area. So I got a ways to go, okay? You got to start building. I need more subs. Let's go. If you become an oligarch, would you hire us DGGers to work on your industries, please? The whole point of an oligarch is to enrich your own, obviously. I'm exclusively hiring DGGers. We're a family, guys. Capital F. Oh. So, yeah. Oh, so the only worry is that it could be that conservatives got a really strong mandate to win in 2028 because the economy is probably, assuming Trump doesn't fuck anything up crazily, the economy is probably going to run pretty well for the next 4 years because I think Biden has set him up pretty well. And so 2028 is going to be, it's going to be a challenge. I think being more aware of bills during the presidency would be a good idea. Yeah, assuming I'll probably cover more Trump shit. This cycle will be interesting for me now that I can like read so much and do so much more analysis. So we'll see. Yeah.
I don't think we've seen a single
When I realized we're fucked.
positive sign so far. Have we?
We have, yeah. There are some suburbs where if you compare,
We're fucked.
Who is
At least we're not train wreck direct UC.
I don't even know what the suburbs were. I don't know if he was looking at the same data that we were looking at because I think Pisco was online, like go scrolling through CNN and stuff. So we had a slightly earlier feed. There were no suburbs that were looking better. I think we were looking through everything. There was like in 2020, when we were looking at stuff, the outstanding votes and everything, they looked really good. But in this one, they did not look that good. Although they did look like they were going to be closer than they were. I was surprised as the Pennsylvania votes rolled in that they were not. I thought that Pennsylvania and Georgia initially with the outstanding vote looked like they were going to be closer. But you guys unironically made some calls faster than the big media players. Yeah, that were all wrong. What do you mean? What are you talking about, dude? Also, keep in mind, because I'm alternative media, I can make incorrect calls because there's no accountability for alternative media, right? Like, I'm laughing now that, like, yeah, we made calls earlier, they were super wrong. But, like, if I made calls and they were correct, then I'd be out there tweeting, like, I called this faster than mainstream media, and that's why I actually fucking knew it all, right? You know, right? It's alternative media. There's no accountability, so you can do whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't matter. When exactly did you realize that Trump won and it was over? Honestly, the worst parts. I think the very first time I said, we didn't even need that. I was like, we didn't even need that one. We didn't even need Florida. The first big sign of trouble was probably when Florida, North Carolina, it was when the states started to go nowhere near what we thought they would go. Like, we didn't expect to win Florida, but when we lost it so hard, and there were a few, maybe North Carolina, when they started to go way worse than we thought, it was like, okay, this is not good. We're in a danger territory. But yeah, I still don't know. Any big surprises that were positive during the election stream? Like what? No? Jesus, that was a nightmare. What did we say? Even if that Seltzer poll was off by the widest margin it had ever been off, it still was like really bad for Trump. The widest margin that Seltzer poll was ever off historically, I think, was 5 points. I think this time it was off by 17. What the fuck? Yeah. I love to hear that. The analyzation parts of the lecture stream were peak with the key alerts and discussions. Yeah, I needed a way to communicate with that other room. One thing, though, too, is that you have to, there are some compromises that we're making that are hard to work around. So, like, one thing that we're trying to do in that studio is, originally Dan said this, but I kind of agree. Not having to wear headphones is nice. It looks better. It looks more organic. It looks more natural. And you just having to wear headphones kind of sucks. But if you're not wearing headphones, you have the added challenge of you have to have a speaker that's playing stuff that's loud enough that you can hear it, but not so loud that there's either feedback or latency, which is a challenge. Yeah, there's a lot of problems that can pop up with stuff like that. For the most part, everything has worked. Although it was getting challenging having him and the miking in the other room and everything. But yeah. Why not pro-grade IEMs? Honest to God, honest to God, these AirPods are the only things I've ever been able to wear for a long period of time without it hurting. Most stuff just doesn't feel good in my ear for a long time. I also have a big problem with, I was going to ask IRR. I don't know if anybody else has this. I don't know if I'm just like autistic. I can't wear glasses for a long time. If I wear glasses for like an hour, then I have, my ears above here get like irritated. It's very fucking annoying. Did you read about how Nate Silver thinks the 13 keys were wrongfully applied to show a Kamala victory? And how he thinks, oh, I'm sorry, hold on. We call her Kamala here now, okay? A Kamala victory. And how he thinks they would have shown a Trump victory if applied properly. That's actually really funny if Nate Silver does say that, because Lichtman and Silver, I'm pretty sure, fought because Silver thought the keys were retarded. But it'd be funny if Silver's like, actually, the keys are really good. They just showed a Trump victory. Why did the normal media's poll that it was neck and neck 50-50? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how the polling works in terms of, because the challenge with polling is you don't really care what the average American thinks. You don't really care what a cross-section of voters, of people think. What you're trying to poll is people who are actually going to go out and vote. That's the challenge, right? So for instance, the Seltzer poll in Iowa, maybe that was actually a really true and really accurate snapshot of how Iowans were feeling, but maybe a ton of Democrats just didn't vote because they're like, oh, fuck it. Who knows? I'm not sure. Is there any basis for the Trump cheated trend, or is this just a pure cope meme? Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm probably literally only going to say this once, and then I'm just going to perm ban people that ask. You can't really, an American election is just so fucking hard to rig. There are so many different moving pieces. There are so many different people involved. Like rigging an election in the US, it's like impossible. Like maybe you can like cheat a few votes if you're an individual. But once you start getting to the counting level, it's almost impossible to do it. I'm only going to say that once, though, because Trumples don't deserve to be treated as humans in that regard, because they were literally saying the election was rigged as the votes were coming in Philadelphia. So I'm never repeating that line. Fuck them. They can just fucking retarded. So. Do you think an entire state could be rigged? Absolutely not. What about Gore? Gore wasn't rigged at like the voting level though, right? Gore's issue had to do with the Supreme Court call and then the stopping of the recount. Oh, or also like the Gore rigged thing was more understandable too, but we had like a mechanism by which we could explain it, because the butterfly ballot stuff, which ironically enough was made supposed to be easier to use for people, I think, with disabilities. The butterfly ballot stuff was legitimately, I think, really difficult to read. Let me see if I can find a picture of these. Bro, this shit was, what were they thinking? Like how to fill these out or punch these. I think people, it was, even if you look at it and you study it for a little bit, like, okay, I think I understand what's being asked. This was probably confusing enough that enough people are like, wait a second, well, you could have fucked up. But yeah, so like this shit was, it was complicated enough. You're like, okay, well, who knows, But funnily enough, I think these were created initially to help people with handicaps that had issues like understanding or voting or something. I don't remember. I feel like the lady that made these had. I feel like I read an interview. It was when I was arguing with Vasha when I looked this up more after. Specifically, Pat Buchanan, the person above the Dems, got an abnormal amount of votes. Oh, maybe, yeah. Oh, because people saw Democratic and then they saw the line and then they clicked here. Yeah. Not sure how bad the PA bomb threats were. Could that warrant some kind of recount? I don't know. Does it even matter? Like, let's say that we win Pennsylvania now. Like, is that even enough? Or also what's the difference in Vadim? Give us the math. How many bomb threats do we need? Like, I don't even think it would matter. How many electoral votes? It's like 17 or something, right? I don't even think it would matter. Is 2028 going to be like 2016? A good economy, so just social issues running the country. I can't see a path forward right now for Dems. I don't really know what happened in terms of 2016. I'm not sure why people voted Trump over Hillary. Although, to be fair, 2016 was really close, wasn't it? 2016 was incredibly close, wasn't it? And Hillary, I think, crushed the popular vote on that, too, by like several million, no? Doing a great job with Get Out the Vote efforts. Would you consider training members of your community to gain local government seats? If you can start getting actual politicians in the audience, your reach will grow immensely. Maybe. Finding a way to track votes, I think, would be a lot more fun. You think it's possible to break it down anytime soon on why the election was lost, like demographic? I don't really care. I already have my theory. The reason why I'm not as interested in breaking it down, too, is because, like, it was like when I got divorced with Melina and like every red pillar was like, oh, look, we call this. Like, hold on. Pretty sure I called this. I said that the number one threat of my life whenever I'm dating a girl is always some guy that's willing to sit and message her for 20 hours a day because I can't give attention to anybody because I'm too busy working. And everybody else thought that it was going to be like a Giga Chad, fucking Andrew Tate or whatever was going to like take my wife from me and cuck me. And I feel like for the election stuff, for the Republican Democrat stuff, it's the same thing. Republicans for a long time were saying demographic shift is going to destroy our country. All of these colored voters they're just voting their own interests and vote, blah, blah. But then as soon as the Hispanic and everything like swings for Trump, they're like, mi amigos, hello, welcome to the United States of America. Hello. Yeah, we have the best Mexicans, actually. Our Mexicans are the best Mexicans. The door just got 10 feet wider, okay? Like, so it's like, fuck that. I don't care. I'm not going to fucking dive into all that. Like I said, I think it was just vibes on the economy. Is it mi amigos or mis amigos? It's mi amigos, right? My friends. Mis doesn't... I should learn Spanish. That's what we should do, too. Would it be mis amigos? Imagine if Putin does the most meme shit and withdraws from Ukraine on January 20th. I would do it if I was Putin, just to f with the Dems. Imagine how much you would bury the Democratic Party. The question is, would it be worth it? If you were Putin, man, he has the chance to do the funniest thing. And it's a good exit point for him as well. Honest to God, strategically, Putin could withdraw from Ukraine. Ooh, that's actually super. Because if I was Putin, you withdraw from Ukraine with the condition that Crimea remains an independent state so that you still maintain control of Sevastopol. You get to build your relationship with the US president, Donald Trump, who's looking to weaken and undermine NATO. You build Trump's legitimacy because now Trump appears to be a stronger president. You pull your own country out of a war, so you're not hurting your economy or doing anything dumb like that anymore. And then you can ease sanctions from the rest of the world because there's no conflict ongoing. That's just like win for... That's just all wins for Putin. I wonder if Putin would do that. Would he just say fuck it and leave? And all he has to do is hold on to Crimea. I think he would also want the Donbass. He would want Donetsk and Luhansk to be separate territories. But Trump would give him that. Trump would be okay with that. Actually, that would be everything. Actually, I think that will happen. I think that will happen. I think that Putin will cease combat because Trump will force. Yeah, but I just intellectualized myself into the position that everybody already had. Because Zelensky can't fight without American support. Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about Ukraine, Europe, or America. So Donald Trump will tell Zelensky, listen, we can't afford this anymore, even though that doesn't make any sense. And Zelensky will be forced to concede and give up, and he'll surrender to Russia, just like we surrendered to the Taliban. And Putin will take that deal 1,000,000% because he gets everything he wants. All Putin ever wanted was it would be a guarantee that somebody file this somewhere, okay? We'll clip this. A guarantee from Ukraine and the U.S. that Ukraine's not going to join NATO or the European Union in the next 10 or 20 years. An autonomous Crimea and an autonomous Donetsk and Luhansk. And then an end to the war, I think. I think those are the conditions. I think that'll happen. That'd be my guess. They're going to be annexed. Russia doesn't normally annex stuff. They like more plausible deniability. Like in Georgia, they didn't annex the 2 territories that they peeled away from Georgia, right? They already annexed them by referendum. Oh, well, fuck me. If they already annexed them, then maybe they'll give them up as a way. That'll be like he annexed Kherson and Zaporizhia. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he'll give those up then, and that'll be his way of like making a deal. I don't know how important it is for him to have like that whole, because you're talking about like the land bridge stuff to this. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe, who knows? But I don't know. Anyway, that's my prediction. See where it goes. We'll check. Yeah. Are Palestinians going to be final solutioned? I think the situation in like Palestine and Palestine and Israel probably just go back to what it was before. It'll just be status quo with Israel slowly encroaching on all the territory. And then the pot will go back to simmering until it blows up in another thing, basically, right? That'd be my guess, but... where we at? Wait. Fuck, I missed it. I scrolled past it. Somebody said, can we arm Ukraine in 2029? They can't stop fighting and then start fighting again. That's impossible. They stop fighting, then it's over. Because then if they start anything new, they're going to be seen as the aggressors. How do you continue to remain hopeful after this? I mean, the pain that I have to suffer is only spiritual and psychological, but I mean, like, in terms of quality of life and everything, like, I'm fine. No offense, but I'm a rich white dude in the United States. Like, I'm always going to be fine. So, I mean, it's not, and I have a lot of media to cover now for the next 4 years, but... Would Trump force Ukraine not to join the EU? I imagine it would be part of some kind of deal, would be my guess. But are you white or Latino? It depends on who I'm fighting with. When I'm fighting against leftists, I'm very, or not Latino, but I guess Cuban coded because they all call me Gusano. Do you think the Republican Party is cemented as Trump's? I mean, like, for this cycle, but I mean, the problem is that Trump probably, I don't even know if Trump will make it through his whole presidency, but I mean, he can't run again, right? I don't even know. Who knows? Yeah. What are your biggest fears about a Trump admin and a red trifecta? The issue is just like an eroding of democratic norms, and then like more fundamental changes to kind of the American style of government. But it could and also a retreating of America from the world stage. Under Donald Trump and like the third positionists that are the Republican Party now, America doesn't see itself as being kind of a world leader anymore. It kind of like wants to step back into the shadows and just kind of like chill in the corner and watch Russia and China take charge of things, unfortunately. So, I mean, like, that'll be now the direction we head in the next 4 years, so... Don't you think our regulatory agencies are fucked? Who knows? Good question. We stop making fun of EU countries now that the Americans are the dumbest of the lot. Well, listen, we never could make fun of EU countries. We're kind of like making fun of the UK, although we're neck and neck with the UK for retarded shit. So we need the UK to step up and do some retarded shit now. Do you think there'll be a nationwide abortion ban? Nationwide abortion ban? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? The women did not save us. Reminder that the UK has a lower GDP than every US state. There's no way that's true. You're telling me the UK has a lower GDP than Montana? What are you talking about? The UK's GDP is 3.34 trillion USD. What? Per capita, it's largely true. Oh, well, I mean, that's a whole other thing, right? Read that report I linked in my super chat. The nationwide abortion ban is probably unconstitutional. Why do you think that? What? Constitutional. My friend Roberts is in charge of the Constitution now, okay? RFK being the leader of the health department is actually dystopian. What happened to us? If you're looking for bright sides, although again it's going to be hard, and also this starts to get really dark. Although I'm unapologetic about how dark it is now. Like the hope or whatever is that there are diseases that start to come out that are way more lethal to people that are unvaccinated, or there are health issues that start to impact people that are far more lethal as they become less and less reliant or less and less trustworthy or trusting of like pharmaceuticals, basically. So. Yeah, like communicable diseases that have high rates of lethality or disability or whatever, that will start to impact people like conservatives more. I mean, like, because again, remember, the big issue is bad things happening are not enough. For a bad thing to change a behavior, it has to come immediately from the behavior, and the person has to be aware of it. How you punish and eliminate bad behavior is actually really similar to how you train good behavior. Fuck. Isn't it like 4 things for learning a fucking skill or something? On these questions, smarter people do worse. Oh shit, wait, what? Hold on. Fuck, what was it? Was it how to learn? Is it 4 things it takes? No, this is a recent thing. Bait title. Oh. 4 things it takes to become an expert. Was this an older video? I thought it was a recent video that we watched.
This trick out the number of peaks as the A player to get their board perfect. But then the researchers arranged the board with 10,000 hours.
Was this it? Maybe it was it. Oh, okay, fuck. I just need a list of 4 things. But basically, like, when you're learning things, you need there to be, like, a clear way to improve. You need there to be clear and easy to understand feedback. The feedback has to be, like, immediate, right? And if any of these things are missing, then humans tend to not learn things. They won't. Yeah. So, and the biggest issue with conservatives is that there's no negative repercussions when they fuck around. So if they start having that, then maybe they would change. Read the comments. They posted it there. Okay. Honestly, Trump went in and started fighting with and firing everyone. What do you think of the chance that he starts a massive infighting war with Elon and RFK and they alternate each other? It'll probably happen. I mean, look at every single person that's been around Trump. They've all been like infighting and he's like abandoned all of them. They've all hated him. So, yeah. Destiny, the audio engineer, Limeo, his hubris will be his downfall. True. I remember when people said that about me in 2011 when I would never get partnered by Team Liquid, in 2013 when I quit playing StarCraft 2, in 2016 when I started to talk about politics, in 2016 when Trump got elected and won the election, in 20 I think 2019, 2020, yes. One of these times, it's going to be the right call. Yes, you're on there. Okay, keep going. ...2022 when I got banned from Twitch. ...2024 when we made fun of Corey the Exploder Brain. I don't even know all these. Hold on. You think one of the big reasons why the election swung so hard was that we lost in the messaging game? Possibly, right? Again, and remember, conservatives are so good at this, like this accusation shit, right? Conservatives talk about like the deep state and the media and all that shit. Bro, the conservative media sphere is in lockstep alignment with each other, right? Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, the Daily Wire, like all the Fox News, every single part of the conservative media apparatus is in lockstep when it comes to messaging and sycophantic support for Donald Trump. And then they will excise anybody that's not in line with the messaging. And they're so good at that, at consistently doing it from top to bottom. But I don't know how you fight that. Like, it's a cult, right? I don't know how you fight that, you know? What is this? Oh, based. We were trolling about the Ukraine-Russia stuff you said 10 minutes ago. About what? I don't think we're going to see a black or woman being nominated for at least 30 years for the selection of greatest. I don't think this people are going to say, but I don't think it had anything with being a black person or a woman. I don't think it had anything to do with this election. We need our own companies like those, right? And we need to coalesce with people like Mediasan and New. Well, the problem is that, like, no. The issue, it's just hard because you like, do you want to exist in that environment where, like, if one side is going to do like crazy like lies and misinformation constantly, like you have to engage in saying, like, that's just like a clusterfuck of shit. I don't know. I'm not sure. Do you think that Kamala's political career is done so? I have no clue. Are there any guardrails that can be put up before Biden leaves? You can't really put up guardrails when somebody wants to, like, guardrails are there to guide you. They're not there to prevent a car from, like, driving head off into the river. Would you say that the Trump victory solidifies that misinformation, AI slop, and that all that shit is acceptable norms now? Yeah, of course. And trying to buy off voters and all that shit, yeah. Again, because there's no punishment for it. Again, it's like people respond very predictably to certain incentives, yeah. Are you watching Kamala's speech? Nope, don't care. Do you think Democrats need to adopt some better lefty/progressive platforms, disregarding messaging and communication? No, it goes deeper than that. I don't think that the playing within the current rule set, I don't know if progressives or liberals could do anything to win. I don't think that it's a winnable game right now for I don't think it's a winnable game right now for progressives. Fuck progressives, for liberals. Because remember, like here's the issue. If you're a liberal, you can't say that the economy was bad under Biden because then you can't take credit for anything you've done. But you can't say the economy is good because now you're out of touch, right? So you're fucked on that. But if you're Donald Trump, you can simultaneously say we need to make America great again as you run for president, even though you were just president. But you can also say that like things are horrible and they need to be made better, even though it was your shit. But then you can like run for president in 2024 and say, remember where you were 4 years ago? Well, 4 years ago, the American population voted you out of office. So what? How could that even make sense? 4 years ago, the American population was so unhappy with you, they voted you out and they voted in Joe Biden. But again, it's a totally different set of standards. So the idea that there's like some way to win in the current paradigm or in the current game for liberals is just not. It's not possible. You can't. I don't think you can fight in this paradigm. So you have to change it. You have to change the paradigm. How much of an influence was Elon buying Twitter? Probably a decent chunk. Who knows? That's a pretty big meme. I don't know when we'll talk about that. And that might be like a thing for historians, but the Elon stuff is probably some of the most like oligarchical behavior in U.S. history. Although I say that, I would have to look back at the, oh fuck, what was the huge oil people? Was it Rockefeller? What didn't, is that what I'm thinking of? I don't know what their influence on politics and everything was. I just don't have the U.S. history knowledge in my brain to check. Standard Oil maybe? I'd have to go back and check out. I don't know, but the Elon shit is probably some of the I think of all the takeaways, I think the Elon Musk shit should probably is probably the highlight scariest thing that's happened, for several reasons. One is because it showed that conservatives have no principles or values. Remember how in the past like 4 to 8 years, remember how I've said over and over again, I'm like, I wish that this would happen. I wish we could just run this one more time and see what conservatives, I wish we could have it, right? Elon Musk is a foreigner who purchased a huge social media network, took it public to private, fired 80% of the staff, increased massively the amount of bots on the platform, made it impossible to tell who was real and who wasn't real, blatantly sided with one political party, blatantly engaged in like massive voter basically purchasing, right? The $1 million lottery and shit to sign people up. That was all, by the way, bullshit because he only gave that money to people that they handpicked. That's all been said, by the way. Is like a billionaire and personal friends with the other billionaire guy who's running for president. Has a company that's trying to learn how to install microchips in people's brains. Is the owner of 2 or 3 incredibly important businesses in the United States, some of which you could argue are essential to national security, like spaceships and satellites. What else? Like, it's just like, like Elon Musk is so much worse than what they even accused George Soros of being, and conservatives don't care at all. They literally don't care at all, not even close, right? Like, remember, when Hillary Clinton was running for office, people accused her of secretly being in charge of a company that sold our uranium to Russia. When Elon Musk, who's in charge of launching our rockets and our satellites, okay, is talking to Putin, conservatives are like, who cares, right? So in one sense, I think Elon Musk showed you who conservatives really were as people. So that's a thing to keep in mind, which is very disappointing. But then the second thing as well is the buying of a platform and the propagation and the shameless spreading of total disinformation, whether we're just talking like blatant AI, like videos and shit, and then just like retweeting lies and all that, doesn't bode well for the future of democracy. That's a pretty big, the Elon Musk stuff I think is probably some of the worst stuff. Yeah. Even if you bring all this up to a Republican, they will just be like, well, I don't like Elon, but I still like Trump, so who cares who he hangs out with? Yeah, sure, I guess. But I mean, like, go reach out to all of your centrist friends and see how many of them are like, wow, Trump won. That's pretty, oof. Rather than like, yeah, Trump, go find out how many of them, yeah. Do you think that Elon will legit get a position in the cabinet? Who knows? Who knows? That cabinet's going to be mighty interesting. We're going to be learning a lot about the government this election cycle. Actually, wait, I need to do shit. Is Kamala doing a speech? You can get away with anything just because you're right wing. It needs to be studied. They simultaneously are in the attack position and the victim position. True. There are a lot of weird parallels. Maybe, fuck, I need to read more. Oh, I have more time now. Back to reading books. I need to read a lot of those old cringe books. Fuck, I bought a few of them. I just haven't started them yet. Like a couple by fucking Rawls and like the early cringy philosopher dudes. I'm saying cringy. They're not cringy. I'm sorry. I'm just memeing. I wonder sometimes how much is like an extrapolation from just basic human behavior. In that Conflict and Culture of the Middle East book, one thing that I thought was kind of funny was when, I wish I could remember the name for this, but it's all Arabic. But there's this when there's been a feud between two different parties, and then a third party is brought in that's equidistant in relationship from both to settle the feud. When the parties come together in order to settle the feud, there's like a process that they go through, which is funny. And I think part of that process is both sides will come forward and they will talk about, I think the first thing they do is they talk about the injuries that they suffered from the other side, because one side is going to have to pay restitution. But then the second thing they do is they come up and they talk about how actually they didn't suffer at all, how they actually won the conflict. They did better than the other side. They were so much better. Even if they're the side that lost and they need to get, and they're being paid restitution, right? Ultimately, you would always know who the winner and loser was based on who had to pay who in order to make things right. But it was just funny that as part of that process, there's a stage where the side that had been wronged, that was being paid restitution, is also saying that, like, well, actually, we didn't do anything bad at all, and we actually won everything, and we were the best. And it's just funny. There's a lot of weird parallels. Do you think Europe in general will get affected because of Trump? I think that the issue is there's a lot of things right now in the world that are working because the United States is kind of like the leader of the free world. And as we move towards a more multipolar world, those things are going to change. And I don't know, we'll see how that impacts us. But again, remember, the problem is because of the transcendent idea, or the transcendental idea, that everything bad is from the left and everything good comes from Trump. If things start getting bad, Republicans don't have the ability to connect it to any of their behavior. It will always be blamed on somebody else. So again, if Trump rises in power and tariffs everybody and things get more expensive domestically, people are just going to blame Biden for inflation, or they'll blame the Federal Reserve, or they'll blame the lack of the gold standard, or they'll blame some other, like, there's always going to be somebody. It's never, ever, 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 ever their own behavior. They never have to take accountability for their own behavior. As long as that fundamental, like, disconnect exists, then yeah, nothing will change. You can't. Yeah. Are you going to Pearson to discuss election stuff? Maybe. They asked me to, but I asked who's going to be on the panel, so. Oh, Scaramucci will be there? Hell yes. Yeah, I can join. Oh, thank God, yes. I love that guy. Talked to him one time. Could you give us some hopium? Do you think there's going to be solutions developed by smarter people regarding misinformation and shit like that? I don't know. I'll figure out what I want to do for the next few years. I'll probably think about that tonight or something, yeah. Or I'll do it tomorrow on stream, because I think I have anything else tonight. Have you ever done a video or stream breaking down how you approach doing research towards a topic and avoid innate internal biases that you may have? I mean, I've talked about it a ton, but there's just not much interest in stuff like that. The unfortunate reality is stuff like that is like working out. Like you can go and watch 50 million videos on working out, but like the reality is that it's not, you don't really need to know much. Like you go to the gym, you have some fucking routine, even if it's a dog shit routine, like eat at least 50 grams of protein a day and like get at least 7.5 hours sleep a night, and you're probably going to grow. That's it. Like, you know, like, do you need one gram per kilogram? Do you need creatine? Do you need optimal sleep? Like, yeah, you give them to max whatever, but like, chances are if you just do anything, you're probably better. And it's the same thing with like research and biases. If you're willing to read a lot and just like not like be aware that you know, sometimes your part is like, there's no shortcut. There's no like secret fucking technique or whatever. The reasons why people fall into misinformation and bias is not really because, you know, they're exercising high levels of cognition or they're just failing. It's usually just because they're believing like random shit they hear because of the social groups and everything. Right? It's, yeah. But do you think going back to history and reading on international affairs, etc., may take a central place in your streams? Yeah, there's like a whole list of topics that I wanted to research. Now that we're through the election shit, yeah, I'll probably just start reading. I had like a list of things I wanted to run down. I don't know if we'll read the Mueller report now. I think that'll be too depressing. I don't think I can handle it because there's no point because we're probably, yeah, Jesus. A school arc would be fun, true. Do you think the Democratic Party will want to invest more in online spaces, similar to what Republicans seem to have done over the years with stuff like the daylight? Maybe, but it's hard to compete in those spaces because it's a different set of rules. You keep trying to think of like how to, like, it's like an MMA fighter, but you're going to fight people that are showing up with like swords or machetes, and you keep trying to think like, okay, well, what if I focus more on like triceps instead of my chest, or like what if we do more pulling exercises, or like maybe I just need to eat more, or like they're playing a totally different game and you're trying to play the game using two sets of rules. There's nothing you can do. It doesn't work that way. You can never ever win in that paradigm. You can't do it. Or it's like a boxer trying to fight somebody doing MMA, right? Yeah. Or it's like a boxer like you just can't. You can't do. You're in a totally different. They're played by a totally different set of rules. Do you ever do leisure reading to detox from the constant streamlining of purely analytical thinking and constant problem-solving frame of mind? No, but everything that I'm problem-solving, everything that I'm analyzing or whatever, it's all stuff that I enjoy doing. Like, it's fun for me, right? Like, somebody could be in that frame of mind 24/7 for like D&D or for StarCraft for me, right? Like, it's yeah. Do you ever think the term limit of 4 years is too short for people to understand if a government is doing well? People loved FDR because he was around long enough to get things done and see the ideas of his government play out. I don't know. I don't really know why we have term limits for presidents. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. What are the topics you want to research next? They're all on my Obsidian. The things to create notes on. It's just the stuff I have listed down here. Do you think that Tim Walz would have done better than Kamala? Like I said, I think it was just a vibes on the economy, basically. Inflation was bad for a few years after COVID. And I think that's what people voted on. I think that was it. I don't think there was anything. I don't know if there's anything to overcome that an individual like politician or political party could have done. How much do you think culture war shit contributed? Probably a little bit in the margins. But the issue is the election was like so widely lost. I don't think you can say that it was, you're not looking at these like margin issues, I don't think, to impact things that much. But also, who knows? Maybe, like I said, that was my big thing that I said, that it was like a vibes thing on the economy. But maybe there'll be more polling or research that will come out in the future that will, that'll change my mind on that over the coming weeks. We'll see. I think it was more that we were fighting the tankies, calling Biden Genocide Joe for a year and saying Kamala is a genocide supporter that led to lower turnout? I don't think so. Do you think that the Biden admin did enough to explain the problem behind inflation? It seems like people think it just magically happens based on. Yeah, I don't know if you can explain that. I don't know if you can do that to an average voter. Like, how many? You've heard me debate people. I think I've asked this question like my last 5 debates, where I've asked people, where do you think the inflation came from? And no conservative will ever say COVID. You have to like push them like really, 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 really hard. The whole no one knows about the elector scheme thing is insane and probably could have saved this campaign. I don't think so. I don't think people give a fuck about stuff like that. Democratic norms and institutions and stuff like that, like the average voter just doesn't care. Doesn't it discourage you a bit that someone like Hassan could put in 1/100th the effort and pull 300K viewers just rewatching CNN? No, the Hassan's viewership has nothing to do with his effort. Hassan is that's how many people on Twitch would ever watch something political. That's it. Hassan is given, like, remember, Hassan is given exclusive and monopolistic control over politics on Twitch. Like, that's just granted by the platform. Like, Hassan is like the official. This is who you go to watch politics for on Twitch. It has nothing to do with his work. It just has to do with the fact that Twitch has granted him that monopoly, basically. The CNN exit poll showed democracy's number 2 issue for voters behind the economy. Yeah, I guess, but I guess now the question is, you have to do a sub poll. Like, what do they mean when they say democracy? Who knows? I disagree. I've talked to so many Trump supporters who have absolutely no idea what the electors plot was. They all think January 6th was just a protest got out of hand. No offense, my dude, but they don't care. They don't care. They super don't care. There are some people will care, but not that many. Most people just don't give a fuck about shit like that. I think you may take wokeness not as seriously as average Joe. My parents seem captured so hard with it. What do you mean take wokeness not as seriously as the average Joe? I don't take wokeness seriously, but the concept of wokeness and how serious other people take it, I take very seriously, of course. What do you mean? Wokeness is a retarded as fuck thing to be obsessed over, but there are a lot of people that are obsessed over it, of course. Those are two... People have a really hard time separating like abstract... there must be a name for this, like in ontology or metaphysics if you study this. People have a really hard time like grasping a thing about a thing. I don't know how to explain this like succinctly, right? Like wokeness is not a huge issue in the United States. It's just not. It's just people obsess over this, and 99% of people it doesn't affect you at all. But the obsession with wokeness is a really big issue. But then people think that these two things are the same thing, right? Like the obsession with wokeness is a big issue. No, it's not. It's the same thing with like, actually the conservatives are so good. They live in this model. Voter fraud could be similar, right? Like election integrity, right? Election integrity is not a serious issue in this country. But then conservatives will say, well, what? A lot of people think it is. They think it is because you tell them that it is, right? That's the issue, right? But then people confuse this for this a lot. And it's like, okay, maybe you should take election security more seriously. I do take it seriously, but there's not an issue with it. The problem is people think there's an issue with it. That's the issue. Yeah, people have a hard time dealing with the concept of a thing that's not, or the meta of a thing or whatever, rather than the thing itself. Not even the meta of a thing, a thought about a thing, I guess. How epic if...
I'm not leaving.
God damn. But that's not what's going to happen.
So let me say, and I love you back. And I love you back. So let me say, my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for. But hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. as long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting. To my beloved Doug and our family, I love you so very much. To President Biden and Dr. Biden, thank you for your faith and support. To Governor Walz and the Walz family, I know your service to our nation will continue. And to my extraordinary team, to the volunteers who gave so much of themselves, to the poll workers and the local election officials, I thank you all. Look, I am so proud of the race we ran, and the way we ran it, Over the 107 days of this campaign, we have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background, united by love of country with enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future. And we did it with the knowledge that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Now, I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power. A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States. And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up. I will never give up the fight for a future where Americans can pursue their dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, where the women of America have the freedom to make decisions about their own body and not have their government telling them what to do. We will never give up the fight to protect our schools and our streets from gun violence. And America, we will never give up the fight for our democracy, for the rule of law, for equal justice, and for the sacred idea that every one of us, no matter who we are or where we start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be respected and upheld.
Remember, all the people telling me to hire somebody for professional audio
We will
did the audio for this
continue to
stream.
wage
Don't forget it.
fight in the voting booth, in the courts, and in the public square. And we will also wage it in quieter ways, in how we live our lives, by treating one another with kindness and respect, by looking in the face of a stranger and seeing a neighbor, by always using our strength to lift people up, to fight for the dignity that all people deserve. The fight for our freedom will take hard work, but like I always say, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And the fight for our country is always worth it. It is always worth it. To the young people who are watching, it is... I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed. But please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. Look, many of you know I started out as a prosecutor, and throughout my career, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives. People who had suffered great harm and great pain.
Oh, also a thing that I said before that Elon shows you a lot of the hypocrisy in the conservatives. Remember too, okay, because I think I said this before, a lot of people were saying they wanted somebody besides Biden. Remember the two big reasons? I just don't want to vote for somebody that's so old. Or I just don't want to vote for, I wish we had another option. I wish we just had somebody different. Nobody cared about either of those things. None of those things ever mattered. Remember, okay? Just don't forget this. Remember, you have to figure out what the language is a proxy for. When people speak, they're speaking emotively, meaning not just with emotion, emotively, in that the words themselves don't have like a factual fact of the matter foundation. They're rooted in an expression of a subjective feeling, right? That's, always remember that.
And yet found within themselves the strength and the courage and the resolve to take the stand, to take a stand, to fight for justice, to fight for themselves, to fight for others. So let their courage be our inspiration. Let their determination be our charge. And I'll close with this. There's an adage an historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering dark time.
What?
But for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. It's you. that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all.
Nice. I will say that one really valuable thing I learned in League of Legends, because for a lot of you guys that might have like histories with like slavery or holocausting or poverty or homelessness or whatever, okay, you don't know anything about true suffering. True suffering is League of Legends bot lane, okay, when you're getting no ganks and you're getting camped, okay? That's true misery, all right? You don't know misery until you've experienced that. However, misery loves company. And when you have company, you're no longer miserable. The best thing about suffering in League was watching my lane partner suffer. And you know what? When my lane partner suffered, it wasn't that bad. So if you're ever feeling lost or hopeless, just find somebody who's more upset than you are and just laugh at them. And then you're good. That's why it was so important last night that we could keep looking to Josiah and Lichtman's stream. Oh no. But